Who do I join? Is it Buffalo Bill? Okay. Crap. Are we live? Right, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this installment of the EazyOne Cup between NMS and AST, two abbreviations there actually. Unfortunately though, I am actually going to have to be AFK for roughly around 2 minutes. That doesn't mean we have to wait. Like, please don't let the teams wait. It's going to have to be without commentary just for just a couple minutes. I just need to go and do something pretty urgently. So I'll be back with you as soon as I possibly can. But welcome nonetheless. And sorry, guys.
These abandoned cars go on for miles.
I should defend.
Maybe they left them when they got
Jockey!
rescued.
That's one theory.
Get it off me!
Reload.
Watch out!
Reloading.
Reloading! Look out!
Look out!
Reloading!
I'm a reload.
I'm reloading.
Hey, I'm reloading.
Reloading.
Got a hunter. Charger. Reloading.
Searchlights. That's the first sign of life we've seen in 100 miles.
Ammunition! Reloading. Spitter! Got it!
Reloading.
Hello, guys. I'm very, very sorry. I had no real option in that matter there. But I have returned, and once again, sincerest apologies, but here I am. So, we have a match on our hands on Dark Carnival between NMS, currently on the survivor side, and AST, currently on the infected side.
Reloading!
Tank's going to be in the hands of Surreal. That's going to be a good charger pin, actually, on top. I wonder if the tank can capitalize quickly enough. However, Nick has taken his set of pain pills, though, and that has increased his movement speed. The tank is not able to keep up with him. The tank is in a precarious position here. Not to mention the survivors are chasing him down as well. He's going to struggle to land that rock, and the survivors know exactly where he is, so they are just going to mow him down. 700 HP. Good jockey, though, followed by some punches. Could be an in-cap. It's an in-cap at the very least. The tank may fall down, though. He is indeed going to fall down, as is the jockey. But look at Coach in the distance there, surrounded by common infected. Charger landing as well.
Reloading.
Onto Rochelle. So Coach took a fair bit of damage there, and Nick is, well, has been in-capped. He has been revived now. He shall be passed a set of pain pills, and they will continue to progress, but they actually took a lot more damage than I'm sure they kind of thought they would, really. Hunter, Jockey, and the Smoker, accompanied with a Spitter, leading into this kind of drop-down choke point here. Hunter is spawned up looking for a wall kick. That's a dead stop, followed by a kill on the Jockey. That's going to be a successful wall kick, followed by Spit combination, but he's going to get out of that relatively quickly, and the only thing they have to worry about now is a Smoker.
Reloading.
Of whom is going to spawn up and pull back, but not much to achieve from it. There is a witch as well, just in between those little bushes there, which the survivors are aware of. They are also aware that they have to deal with Special Infected. They have chosen for the remote crown route. She hasn't. She's approaching him now. That's going to be a very easy, very effortless remote crown, and that is going to reward Team NMS the 25 bonus points that you get if you successfully kill a witch without her incapacitating anybody.
That's a righteous ride down that hill.
Boomer didn't go for the rocket boom there. Is going to wait for the remainder of his spawns. There's going to be a Jockey, Smoker, Boomer that went in, but unfortunately he was popped. Couldn't get a boom on anybody. So that's just going to leave a lonesome Jockey, Smoker, and Spitter. 7 seconds on the clock for the fourth and final spawn. Just the Jockey pouncing around at the moment, just to be a bit of a nuisance. He's going to be jumping in here. Lands onto Nick. Interception attempt by the Smoker is successful for a little bit. But that's going to be the death of the Spitter, and nothing much more remains in the hands of AST. Well, actually, nothing remains. They're all on spawn timers. They are going to trigger the alarm car, but I mean, they know they're about to make it into the safe room, so they thought, why not? So that's going to put them at 880 points. Taking into account the bonuses they achieved from the witch and tank kill as well. And that is going to lead us into the second half of the first chapter here on this Dark Carnival installment. And while we have some downtime, the roster rundown. It's going to be Buffalo Bill, Surreal, Names, and MK on AST. And on NMS, it's going to be Imasa, XF, Sand, and
Now we can
Vez.
die there as adults.
Let's just see how AST are able to perform here. Over on the Survivor side, they played relatively well, actually. On the Infected side, all things considered. Boomer's going to spawn and get a boom onto one, that being Nick. Hunter is moving in with the Jockey. That's going to be a Jockey setting up for the Hunter Spit combination. Some damage is going to happen from it.
I'm reloading.
5 seconds remaining for the first spawn. The others are a bit further behind. That's 2 survivors behind, 2 survivors in front.
Watch out!
Hunter, Jockey, Boomer, and a Charger. Hunter is already spawned up. It looks like they want to attack around about here. Let's just see if they choose to. Hunter is just pouncing around. Actually, it looks to be that they might be redeciding. They might be deciding against that option.
There's still searchlights on. I say that's a good
There
sign.
is ammunition replenishment at the Humvee, but it is only a shotgun. So if you're too low on Uzis to continue with them, you have to switch to shotgun. That's a proxy boom from behind. 2 survivors. Jockey is moving in. Everything's moving in. Charge lands, followed by the Hunter, but they're all stealing each other's targets here, and that is definitely limiting their damage. Albeit the damage output was very high, it was also very limited because everybody kept stealing each other's targets. I believe it started with the Charger stealing the Jockey target, and then the Hunter stealing the Jockey target, so If they landed the tri-cap, that would have been so much
Ammo
damage.
here.
But of course, onwards and upwards, they still did very, very well with the attack and still achieved a lot of damage despite the fact. It's going to be a jockey, boomer, smoker, and a spitter, of whom has just gotten rid of her life because you don't really want spitters during tank fights. They're not very useful.
Ammo here.
Boomer's looking like he wants to try to land a boom from below here. That's going to spawn the tank in the hands of Vez. That's a good smoker, actually, keeping Rochelle below. It's not going to amount to much, but regardless, still a good smoke.
Reloading.
Let's see what Vez's tank can bring to the table. That puts 2 cars there, but they're not really in very good positions, at least. Well, the one that's kind of like jammed between the hill and the fence, that's going to be a difficult one. The one that is just standing normally, just going to have to see whether he even chooses to go for it. I mean, he doesn't even go for it in the first place, so that's a limit. He's going to move for the survivors. That's a good triple boom. That's going to be a stumble from the Hunter, landing 2 punches onto Nick, followed by some punches onto Ellis, who has just been cleared. The Charger actually does end up missing there, but is going to get a scratch onto Nick for his troubles. That's going to be several punches across the board for the tank, of whom is on 3,000 health. And they need to do something about that, to be honest. Coach is getting himself pinned as well. He is now incapped and not in a good position as well. 2,581 HP in the hands of the tank. That's a very good position for him to be in. That's going to be a smoker going for Rochelle. Jockey gets dead stops and shut down. And Rochelle goes for the revival onto Ellis, but eats a rock for her troubles. And just now is trying to clear the smoker. Not having much luck with that process, though. He's just trying to shoot through a fence. That is, well, a lot of damage happening. That could even be a death at this rate. That is indeed going to be the death of Coach there. Only 2 remain, well, 3 remain, 1 person standing, the rest of them ring capped. That will be a Charger, and therefore that is going to seal the deal, and that is going to put Team AST at 208 points versus, well, Team 880 points. You know, there's no real way to put it. There's no soft way to put it. They are looking at a points deficit here, of which they do need to put their best efforts into reducing as much as they possibly can, because that is a fairly significant point deficit to be.
Never heard of them. Any good?
NMS moving into the survivor round here of their portion of Dark Carnival for the second chapter here. This chapter a little bit more difficult than the last one, which of course the progression, you know, would be as such. The maps would progressively get more difficult. However, I feel as though Dark Carnival doesn't fit into that category. I personally think that it goes, in terms of difficulty, I think that Dark Carnival Chapter 3 is the hardest of all of them, because of the roller coaster and just the indoor atmosphere as well before that. I personally believe that Dark Carnival Chapter 3 is more difficult than Dark Carnival Chapter 4, at least marginally, at least by a little.
I'm grabbing pills.
Just waiting on one more person from Team AST before we go live here, and we shall be going live here. It's going to be the standard safe room choke point. Boomer goes for the rocket boom from the roof, but gets shut down. That's going to be a stumble from the Hunter, excuse me. That's going to be a scratch in the safe room, and some damage actually. Come to think of it, that is actually not that bad damage, considering how staggered and how just unsynchronized the attack was. It's surprising how much damage they actually managed to inflict there. Sometimes that can happen, though. Sometimes you can get some great results out of some peculiar situation. Boomer, Hunter, Charger, and a Spitter. That honestly is quite a good setup, leading into this warehouse choke point. Of course, it's only as good as you can perform with it, though, so that is going to be the tank spawned. It's going to be the Spitter getting rid of her life, the Charger's moving in just simply to try and make something happen. That's going to be a shutdown on the Boomer, and then the Hunter mid-air as well. So overall, Team NMS are certainly playing up to a good standard here. The tank is going to be in the hands of MK. Let's just see what he can bring to the table here. On pass number 1 still, 40% of it. He's going to be looking to make something happen with the dumpster. The dumpster is trailing in and is in play. Decides to start throwing some rocks. Going to be curving them from round the... Oh, he actually successfully gets a curve rock there. He not only attempts, but succeeds at a curve rock, and a smoker is going to be going on to Ellis there, followed by a forklift, which is not going to in-cap him somehow because of the Charger, but then again, the jockey aids him in getting the in-cap onto Rochelle instead. He's going to look for further targets though with the forklift, and that Ellis is the second person to eat the forklift there. Not literally though, mind you. That's going to be a bot Spitter making her presence known. That's going to be the tank hiding round the tent. Gets a punch onto Nick there. Can't get the second punch though. He's on 379 HP, and he's going to be chased down and eventually killed, but that's going to be, well, 2 total in-caps, both by forklift.
Oh yeah, cotton candy, the wise pharaoh of food.
There is also that bot Spitter that's just going to actually end up successfully delaying the survivors a little bit, so the bot Spitter actually turned out to not be completely useless.
Reloading.
Spitter and a smoker, followed by a jockey and a boomer. That is the setup that Team AST have to work with here. Let's just see how well they can pull it off here. We're coming up to the ramp choke point. They're attacking before it though. That's going to be a smoke onto Coach, but cleared pretty quickly. That's going to be a dead stop on the jockey, which is fortunate for Ellis, because had he not dead stopped that jockey, he would have been jockeyed in the spit, and that would have been quite devastating for him. But then again, he is not really containing their health bonus. Nick and Coach, aka Imasa and XF, respectively, are the ones in possession of the health bonus right now.
Reloading!
That essentially means that they're high priority, both in terms of being a survivor and being an infected.
Let's kill all
They need to be protected at all costs because they are the ones who are going to extend the points. That's going to be a proxy boom at the ladder onto 2 survivors. There is a jockey, Charger, and Hunter waiting for them above. Survivors are patiently clearing the common infected there. They don't want to run into any unnecessary trouble. That's going to be Rochelle up first. She ends up getting charged though, and she gets pretty much separation charged there. She's going to be down to ground level. That's a good jockey as well, and with the separation split, that's going to be him dropped. So that's 2 people ending up dropped below here, and the other 2 are going to have to go back and end up retrieving them. That is actually very low HP onto Rochelle as well, although the Spitter ends up delaying Nick, but not Rochelle. Rochelle would have been the best target to delay there because she nearly died. They managed to revive her though. They know where the smoker is, and therefore they are going to chase it down possibly, or maybe not. Yes, they have chosen to chase down the smoker, and Nick deals with her with ease. Onwards and upwards for the survivors, but they do have to, they really have to continue going onwards and upwards, though. That's a good shutdown onto the Hunter there. It's going to be Boomer attempting a proxy boom. Can't make anything happen, though. That is going to be the survivors moving forward here. They probably will have some better luck here as the... then again, no, they have a jockey and a charger. Scratch that. Let's just see how that happens. The charger ends up just going for Ellis instead, though, because the jockey ended up dying and Smoker only just now spawns. He didn't even know he had a Smoker at that point, so there we have it. They live to see another day, and that attack certainly was not nearly as devastating as the first one on the ladder. Hunter, Spitter, and a Boomer, but the Boomer ends up getting popped and therefore shut down before anybody gets boomed. Smoker, Hunter, and a Spitter. Hunter is waiting around the corner there. Curious to see who they will send first. It looks like it's going to be a combination of everybody dropping, actually. That's going to be a wall kick onto Coach, but he drops down just in time. He is health bonus, though. Nice double charge as well. That's going to be an in-cap onto Nick, aka Emasa. So in terms of being infected gameplay, AST are doing pretty good, but they do need to convert this gameplay into a wipe here, because that really would be in their favor. There is also a witch, though, speaking of in their favor. That's definitely not in their favor. They are going to trigger her and essentially focus fire her as she climbs over the fence. Very good tactic. That is going to be well, Coach's HP is completely obliterated there. That's going to be an in-cap onto him. That's going to be a quad boom as well. Separation Smoker behind the tree. And interception jockey as intercepts Rochelle. And that's going to be very well played by the Special Infected. They need to keep the pressure up here. Coach is actually nearly dead as well. However, he ends up being revived. They aren't able to keep the pressure up enough to ensure his death. Now their focus is onto Ellis, of whom is nearly dead here. Probably is going to die unless they miraculously end up saving him. He's very low HP. Actually, they might end up reviving him because nobody's charging or challenging. Nobody challenged the get-up, and therefore he ends up being revived. Then again, they don't end up looking very good, though, because Rochelle has perished. That is 2 people on black and white as well. So that's going to be 2 near deaths. That's a double boom in the back. That's a smoke onto Coach, followed by an in-cap. The remaining 2 survivors, well, there you go. I was about to say they're black and white, therefore they will die if they fall below 0 HP, and they do just that, just there. So they were not too far away from the safe room, but they do end up getting wiped there. That's going to put them at 1,426 points. And let's just see what they can now pull out of the bag on the infected side. Team NMS, that is, because Team AST, they do have a chance here. They have a chance to close the point deficit and become a little bit more in the game. Because right now they're certainly trailing, and, well, I mean, anybody in their position would feel the same. You're going to want to try to make that better. One moment of silence, guys, while I just do a couple of things. Okay, there we are. So, we will be going live here in the first half of the second chapter on Dark Carnival, AST leading in the survival. They are going to bait the spawns. All 4 of the Special Infected have spawned. And I want to say given away their location, but their location pretty much always is here. Hunter is moving in. That's a smoke onto Rochelle, followed by a 4 damage pounce. That's going to be the Charger getting some scratches, not too much to speak of though. And so long as they deal with the common infected efficiently, they could be looking at preserving their HP pretty well here. Preserving a good health bonus here, I should say. And they have pretty much done so. Yep, that is good preservation. and they have certainly kept it up to a good standard. Let's just see for how long they can maintain that, though. Boomer, Smoker, Hunter, and a Spitter. Hunter is already looking to attack. That's a Boomer going from the tents. In moves the Hunter. That's going to be a smoke onto Ellis, followed by the Spit. So the damage there is definitely going to be noticeable. And, well, there you have it. Buffalo Bill, aka Ellis, has taken a large chunk of damage as a result of the Smoker-Spitter combination. One that you rarely see compared to the others, but it can still be very lethal, especially on somebody who has been smoked away from his team and separated. But then it can be devastating with the smoke-spit combination. They can sometimes prove to be very lethal together. Tank in the hands of Sand, who is going to be moving the dumpster in. That's a precarious hit. Oh, it just hits the tree. It travelled over that tree. It could even have gotten an in-cap already. It's going to be a boom onto one survivor. Tank is moving the forklift in. Going to be switching to the survivors instead. First punch onto Lewis, Ellis, sorry, is successful. Second punch onto Nick. Nick is successful. That's going to be a third punch onto Ellis. And a good rock onto Nick. That's going to be a good stumble onto Coach because of the pounce onto Coach. So the damage is very, very good, but the tank ends up dying, but not in vain. With 4 punches and 1 rock in total achieved, he ended up doing a fair bit with the help of his special infected support. Smoker, Spitter, Jockey, and a Charger in the hands of Team NMS, who are going to try to make something happen here with this kind of warehouse choke point. Survivors have moved into it. The Charger gets a good charge, followed by Spit. That's going to be a scratch charge as well, so all the more damage, and the Smoker maintains him in the Spit for that much longer. However, in terms of health bonus, he does not possess a large amount of it. The largest amount of health bonus they have is Rochelle, which means that in terms of the special infected, Rochelle is the person that they need to be focusing.
Heads up!
Charger, Boomer, and a Hunter will be accompanied with a Jockey. Boomer from behind can't really get any luck out of it. That is going to be a Charger pre-spawned, and that means the survivors know where he is because he makes noise. That is a Charger moving in. Unsuccessful, though. There's going to be a Jockey landing onto Rochelle. That was actually also a team skeet onto the Hunter. And as I say before, the Boomer was unsuccessful and therefore had to respawn. He's going to maintain his spawn. It is going to be a late witch, as we saw in the previous half of this chapter as well. So let's just see how well AST can maintain their current health situation. They have 2 people booms, though. That is a proxy boom onto 2 survivors, both of whom are stationed inside the truck there. Maintaining their health to the best of their ability. They are coming up to this ladder choke point, though, and as we saw in the previous half of this chapter, it is very lethal. That's going to be a smoke onto Rochelle. That's going to be a charge onto Coach, and this is exactly why it's so lethal, because Coach, is separated, and Deja Vu, the Jockey, goes onto Rochelle and incaps her the same way. So that's going to be Ellis dropping. I believe Nick is going to follow, surely. He surely has to follow soon because he can't wait there for that much longer. They're going to revive everybody successfully, but if Nick stays there any longer, he's going to get pinned and could even go as far as to die, depending on how quickly they can pin him. He is choosing to wait there, which is as an interesting decision. That is going to be the Spitter looking to delay the survivors. Rocket boom onto 2 survivors there as well in the back. So there's 2 people boomed and behind, and there is 2 people non-boomed and ahead. That's going to be both of them in cap to below. As a result of the Smoker, Boomer, and Charger, and the Charger is waiting precariously round the corner for the remaining survivors to drop there. One of them does, but one of them doesn't. That's going to be a charge onto the guy on ground level, shut down onto the jockey, but the Hunter intercepts. It will be a clear onto the Charger, so they kept alive. However, not with much ease. That's only Coach remaining, and not on good HP at all. One scratch will pretty much put him down. That's going to be Nick dying there as well, because he was getting very close. That's going to be 3 remaining survivors as a result of this lethal choke point. They are reduced to 3 survivors, one of whom is 1 scratch away from in-cap, and he is going to not be in-cap by the Charger because he slices him to death, but that's going to be 2 people boomed, and that's going to be a spit that spreads all the way through the truck there, and therefore is going to slay Rochelle. The other remaining survivor will be slain as well, and that is going to put a very significant point margin separating these 2 teams here. It's not quite 1,000, but let's be honest, it's not far off. It's around the 800 range, or a little bit under. So Team NMS in possession of that 1,426 points that you see, and Team AST in possession of the 604 points that you see over on the infected side. All in all, the momentum has certainly been in NMS's favor, but not by a huge margin, I have to say. I have noticed in numerous instances where Team AST pull out an amazing attack, or they do something incredibly special that really just kind of shows what they're made of. And it's definitely, although 800 points is a large amount to cover, it's not impossible, and as we have seen so far from Team AST, they are certainly still in this game and still capable. That is going to be a boom right off the bat with 2 survivors. Charger's going to be looking to make something happen, but he can't make anything happen there. It's going to be a smoke onto Ellis and a jockey onto Rochelle, and those 2 things combined are going to be some decent damage being inflicted. Not too much, but when you think relative to what setup they had and how well the attack went, that's not that bad damage. Survivors will have no difficulty moving through this tunnel of love. That's going to be a dead-stopped Hunter followed by a dead Hunter. That's going to be a Charger mowed down by the focus fire. That is going to leave only a Boomer and a Jockey remaining. Tank is going to spawn for Team AST. That is going to be a Buffalo Bill tank. Boomer and a Jockey. Boomer rockets in, gets dead stopped, but it's not enough though. The Boomer ends up getting a boom onto 2 survivors, which means that the tank could actually choose to go in here. I wonder if he will. It could be a good opportunity. He has a smoker as well. The smoker ends up getting shut down though, so judged off that action, they are not choosing to send the tank in with the boom, which I have to say is the right decision here. He's going to be looking to make some curve rocks happen here, but they're just connecting with the wall instead. Let's just see if we can make this one happen. He doesn't end up making it happen. That's a good separation Charger though. That's going to put Nick right in his tracks, and that will be a good rock onto Rochelle, followed by a punt. That's going to be some curve rocks following. Nothing to land so far. The tank is going to recommit though. Looking for Ellis, gets punched and then immediately pounced straight after. That's going to be a punch onto Ellis, followed by another. So that will be an in-cap. 2,300 HP in the hands of the tank. Going to be curving that rock. Unable to make it land though. That's a Jockey landing onto Nick. The Charger is unable to spawn to get the interception though, and the tank is chasing Coach. There's a lot happening right now. Charger is going for Coach there. Ends up landing onto Coach, of whom is so far away from the survivors as well, so that's going to be him in a very precarious situation there. The tank is curving some rocks here. Can't quite land onto Rochelle, but he is stopping them from getting over to Coach. They can't pass him. The tank ends up going AI, mind you, though. So, well, they've killed him now and they can pass him. That's going to award them points. That's going to be an interception Hunter, though. So Coach is nearly dead here. He probably won't end up dying. So long as they clear him, though, he gets close. He definitely gets close, but he will not be dying. It's going to be a jockey and a spitter. 11 seconds on the clock for the other two spawns to complete the setup. But overall, that's very well played by the Special Infected. There are 3 people who are bleeding. Only one person is not bleeding, that being Sand, aka Rochelle. It's going to be a jockey spawning up to the left of the survivors, pouncing in now. Boom onto 1, shot down onto the Hunter by M2, and then Slice, though. That's going to be 3 people, boom. 2 extra by proxy. And the survivors are going to continue to move onwards and upwards. But not with ease, though. I think they have 2 people who are slow right now. 2 of the 4 survivors are currently slow. Nick showing that to be a detriment to their team, actually. He just manages to get the trick jump there. That's going to be a charge onto Ellis, a jockey onto Rochelle, and that's going to be good damage as well because the spit is in that room and they can't really do much about it. She's going to just simply go down there, and she, in fact, was health bonus. So in terms of health bonus, they have absolutely nothing. The spawn timers are a little bit staggered, though. That's going to be a boomer. And in 2 seconds, we'll know what the second spawn is. It's going to be a chart. Survivors are going to look to drop down the hole here, which they do so indeed. But there's going to be 2 people boomed. Smoker and a spitter with a charger. Charger goes in with the spitter. That's going to be an in cap from the charger, so the spit doesn't really do much as a result of it. But that is going to be 2 people in. Both of whom are going to be revived with relative ease, though. That is going to be only a jockey, followed by a boomer, and then followed by a hunter. That's going to be a good proxy boom onto 1 survivor there, that being Ellis. That is going to be a charger, hunter, and a jockey. Jockey from behind, hunter and charger from in front. That's going to be a nice melee skeet there by Vez. That's going to be a good double charge, but cleared mid-path. Have to say that was a very good melee skeet there, especially considering he was boomed. They have a witch to contend with, leading up to the ramp and a choke point. They're going to look to remote crown her, and they do indeed remote crown her very effortlessly. That's going to award them 25 points. That's going to be a jockey in the back. Smoker in the back as well. Boomer from on the rooftop gets a boom onto 2 survivors. That is going to be a separation spitter, but there's 2 survivors in the room and 2 out of the room, so the separation is already there. That's a smoker behind the tree, but I mean, his location is very obvious, so they are going to shut him down. That is going to be a hunter, ready and waiting for the survivors. In he moves, lands onto Rochelle though, and she is in cap, so it didn't matter too much. That's going to be a following in cap onto Imasa, aka Nick there though. Reschedule game, please. Pardon. Interesting. So that's going to be Nick incapacitated. They are going to revive him with ease, and they're going to make their way forward. That's going to be a chip level onto the charger. That's going to be the jockey ending up getting an in cap. But they will be shortly reviving Coach and continuing to progress forward here. I ran out of... okay. Interesting. So we have this crescendo coming up here, this infamous roller coaster crescendo, which is why I personally believe that map 3 is harder than map 4, as I say. Damage counts from the hunter is not successful, but it will be followed by a spit, and then a death. That'll be a smoke onto Coach. That's going to be a charger, securing the death onto basically everybody. Excuse me, guys. That's sorry, I got a bit of a hiccup there. Yeah, essentially everybody was black and white at that point. Their health was really not very good at all, and they have achieved themselves 1,882 points. And there is currently 604 points in the hands of Team AST. But let's just see how much more they can extend it, because it is their turn now on Survivor side. Jockey, Charger, Smoker, and the Boomer is the beginning setup, and by the looks of things, the Charger is going to go from behind. He is positioned in the safe room. He does indeed go from behind, but it goes to no avail though. That is going to be a very good shutdown on the Charger. It's going to be good focus fire on the Common Infected as well. Not really much has happened so far. The Smoker and the Jockey are awaiting there. That's going to be a dead stop onto the Jockey. He moves in for round 2, but gets himself shut down, as does the Smoker. And that is going to be, well, it is a proxy boom onto Ellis, so it slows them down further. But the survivors are going to continue to move forward here, although relatively slowly. And also Ellis is a little bit behind as well. That's going to be a Charger moving for him, lands onto him, and that even gets so much as the pummel. That's going to be a Hunter, dead stopped. The Smoker landed temporarily, but I'm not entirely sure what went on there, to be honest. But Buffalo Bill, aka Ellis, has ended up taking a large amount of damage there. Smoker and a Boomer, followed by a Jockey in the hands of Team NMS. Let's just see what they can make happen with it though. A shutdown on the Smoker, right, so not a heck of a lot can happen with it. Survivors are going to make their way back, of course, because the tank has now spawned in the hands of XF. Let's just see what XF can bring to the table here. For Team NMS. They have a Charger, Hunter, and a Jockey to work with. Tank is choosing to move in, gets the first punch onto Ellis, which has separated him a little bit. There's going to be some more punches landing onto Nick in this closed area here. That's going to be a surefire in cap. That's going to be the Charger moving in. Hunter lands, Charger lands. Hunter is going to be, it's a tri-cap. The Jockey lands shortly after, and that is essentially going to be what we would call a wipe. Very, very well played by pretty much every special infected there. Literally every special infected in that roster served a purpose, and a very good purpose at that. The tank in-caps the first person. The Hunter and the Charger landed. The tank punched the remaining survivor, and then the Jockey sealed the deal by landing onto that guy, and that was a tri-cap, and essentially, well, a very good one. A very good one indeed. That is going to pretty much allow them to maintain this point mountain they're currently sitting on. 1,882 versus 736. So Team NMS are looking in a good position right now, leading into this fourth and final chapter.
I got these pills.
Reload.
It is just going to be a case of it appears they are reassigning the tank percentage. Okay, so that's interesting. But yes, it is essentially going to come down to how well AST can play uninfected and whether or not they can get an early wipe, because with an early wipe from the tank, you know, they could be looking at keeping themselves in the game, but it is going to be a lot of work, especially considering the strength of their opposition. Ellis moves out first and foremost, just looking to clear some common infected here. It is going to be a smoker, jockey, charger, and a spitter combination. Ellis is ghosting. Coach moves out as well. They are looking to move out. That's going to be a missed charger though. He gets focus fired, as does the jockey, and the smoker can't really make much happen either. So that's going to be a shutdown of everything, and the only damage they have taken can either be common infected or friendly fire, because there are 0 points on the board for all of AST. Tank is going to be looking to get these dumpsters into play. First one not giving him a huge amount of luck. Gonna be looking to do the second one now, which has a lot more luck actually. That ends up very much in play. Tank's going to be throwing some rocks from on the rooftop here. Can't make anything land just yet though. Jockey is going to be moving in. Gets himself dead stopped, and then Uzi focus fired. Empty Blue, are you here? They need you to re-spectate, my guy. There we go. Okay, cool. We shall be going live here. The survivors are currently stationed in the bumper car room. That is a very good shutdown by Team NMS onto the boomer as well. That denies them any chance of a boom. Tank is gonna look to try to get the first pin here. Misses the first punch, unfortunately. Gonna be smoking Coach into a punch. That's an unsuccessful charger. The second, and well, there's gonna be 2 punches onto Coach, followed by a third, so that will be an in cap. And Nick just barely dodges the dumpster there. Gonna be looking for a hit onto the dumpster. He has enough HP to go for it. 1 punch onto Rochelle, but that's all she wrote for the tank. The tank is going to perish, achieving a considerable figure actually though of 6 punches in total, most of them being inflicted onto Coach, who was the in-capped guy. Charger, smoker, and a spitter. In 2 seconds, the 4th and final spawn will be unveiled, that being a boom. Charger moves in first, but gets focus fired. You don't generally want to send in a charger first, because focus firing a charger is very easy, and that proves exactly how easy it is. And Team NMS are going to be progressing forward with relative ease. They are all above 40 HP and therefore all at fast movement speed. There's going to be a hunter pouncing around, looking for a connection, but ends up getting shut down. Nothing to make from it. That is going to be a jockey, charger, and a boomer.
I'm a reload.
Grabbing a golf club.
Over the roof.
Reloading.
9 seconds remaining for the 4th and final spawn. Jockey gets dead stopped and charger is moving in, but gets shut down with the same kind of ease. There is a witch ahead as well, just below the survivors. Coach is going straight for her. Immediate crown, no hesitation whatsoever there. That's going to reward them an immediate 25 points. Spitter, boomer, smoker, and a hunter. Spitter decides to essentially get rid of the life. So all we are left with it is a smoker, hunter, and a boomer. It's gonna be the hunter pouncing around here. Smoker looks for a smoke, but ends up getting chased down by Ellis at the dumpster there, and will be shut down.
Reloading.
Hunter is pouncing in, but he misses Ellis, unfortunately, and ends up getting shut down because he expected to land. I could tell by the way he stopped moving after he landed, because he expected to land on Ellis there. Unfortunately, though, he did not, and that would have been at least 20 damage. That's going to be a spitter and a charger. They have the charge spit combination to use here, but they have to be quite well efficient with it. That's going to be Nick moving in first. Charger gets a good connection there, followed by a spit. He is health bonus as well, so that is a very good person to go for. It's going to be a separation smoke onto Rochelle. Nothing much to make of what's happened, though. They are going to make it into the safe room here, putting themselves on a much higher point margin. They are now at 3,083 points versus 739 points in the hands of AST, who are now going to be moving on to their survivor rounds. But to be honest with you, it's not looking good for them. I can pretty much guarantee actually that they unfortunately will not be winning this game here. But of course, they are not going to go out without fighting. They are still going to go out with a swing.
Nick, remember we ran on that roller coaster?
Let's just see what can happen, though. Let's just see how well Team AST can perform on the survivor side here. That's going to be what it comes down to in terms of their sake. They want to maintain that health bonus, but they have a tank and a witch to get through, not to mention a crescendo, and not to mention many choke points. Spitter, jockey, charger, and a smoker, same as always. And it is going to be an early tank. It's going to be a smoke onto Ellis, followed by a spit. That's an interception, a jockey as well. So that's going to be an in-cap right off the bat at this rate. Yes, it is indeed going to be an in-cap already. So Buffalo Bill there has found himself on the ground from a charge spit combination. They are absolutely ruthless in this game. Charge spit combinations. Tank is going to spawn in the hands of Imasa. That's going to be a boomer, jockey, and charger. Tank is looking to move these dumpsters in, one of which is in play. Second one is on the rooftop, so he's basically in play. Tank is now going to be moving in through the bumper car route. Let's just see if he can land any bumper cars, because these also in cap. He actually gets a punch there onto Ellis, surprisingly. Did not expect him whatsoever to get that kind of connection. He's going to be looking to get a punch onto Ellis, which he does indeed do so. That's going to be Ellis in-capped in a very precarious situation. The bumper car room is directly outside of where Ellis is, as in inside, I should say. Tank is going to be looking to move in here, taking pistol fire though from Ellis by standing there. Boomer's going to land onto Nick, followed by the smoker, but not much to happen from it. Tank is now above the survivors, going to be throwing a rock onto Nick, just barely missing him. That is a good charger, though, and that's going to be 2 pummels. There's going to be several punches landing onto Nick, followed by the bumper car. He's moving in these bumper cars here with ease. That's going to be Nick, Coach, standing, but he ends up getting punched, followed by possibly a bumper car. Bumper car is going to be, they're going to be calling the GGs here. Folks, that's only Rochelle standing, but she won't be standing for much longer. So there we have it. That is going to be the victory for Team NMS on 3,083 points. It's going to be the loss of AST on 840 points here. And, well, it's unfortunate, but there we have it. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, it has been a pleasure commentating. I very much enjoy being given the opportunity to do so. And thank you, everybody. As I say, it is GG's and good night from us.